No, good, good for you. Good for you, Patricia. So, well, should we get started?
It's 2:00, so welcome everyone. And I know we'll have a few more getting on there, but thanks to you all that decided to join us today. We have Mr. Dave Jenks, and we're so excited that he's agreed to join our Market Center and share just a tiny little bit of his knowledge. Many of you know Dave Jenks was a co-author of the MREA book. He's been in the industry for well over 30 years. He's considered an expert, and he's a master trainer. And I was looking on your website, and very interesting. I'm going to listen to some of your podcasts. I wasn't aware of.
Please do, because in the last 10 years, I've gone into the entrepreneurial range even more deeply, right? And then at the end of that, into a book I'm writing now called Seeker, A Journey Toward Wisdom, which is really about my life experiences and the wisdom I've gained in all sorts of different areas, and finishing with the spiritual area. So yeah, fun stuff. Good. Go enjoy it. DaveJenks.com.
There we go. Did everybody get that? DaveJenks.com.
DaveJenks.com. Yep. And it's not like they say it in Texas, Dave Jinks. Like they say Jinx. I said it, there's an E and a KS. It's Jenks. It's Dave Jenks. Now down here, it's like, hey, Jinx. You can't educate these Texans, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, I don't even want to know what the Georgia slang would be here. So
here we go. That's right. Here we go.
Thank you and welcome, Dave.
Well, thank you, Patricia, and thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thank you to Patricia and Matthew for making the investment to have me here, and I really appreciate that. And then for those of you who are tuned in, I just want to say I honor you, and here's why. When Gary Keller and I got together in 1996 and began to build Keller Williams University at a time when we only had 3,000 people in the entire company, but we knew what our destiny was. And what we said to each other was that the key to high achievement in real estate is being learning based. The highest achievers we knew went to the most training. Linda McKissick, who is a 7th level agent, with her own team, 350 transactions a year and all that. She said, I've been to career visioning 12 times. She said, every time I go, I learn it. And we did a survey, interestingly, of all the people attending Mega Camp and found out that the average of the top producers, really the ones who made it into MREA, they were spending 1 month a year in training, 1 month a year. And that's not even counting the incidental stuff here and there. That was days of training. So I just say that. So I honor you for being here. This is a special opportunity. You're going to be really glad that you showed up. You really are. And so thank you for making that investment. And the other thing I just want to say about Keller Williams and Gary Keller is that one of the things to remember, it is really true of Keller Williams, and that is your future is never determined by where you are or where you've been, but where you want to go, right? It's your intentions. My wife calls it manifesting, my wife Gina. It's like when you know where you want to go and you just get that feeling you want to go there and you're willing to do the work it takes to get there, then that's what determines your future. And that's what determined when I had been a divisional president of Century 21 for 7 states out of Dallas, and I saw this little company growing down in Austin, Texas. And the more I studied it, the more I said, oh, wow, if I were inventing a real estate company, that's what it would be like, right? Well, I was with this big corporate branded Century 21, the leading company in the industry at the time. So about 5 years later, I got a call from Mo Anderson. She said, Dave, Gary and I want you on our team. We're ready to make that investment. Would you join? And I said, absolutely. You're the future of real estate. I want to be part of that future. And so the 3 of us got together and rock and roll, we did it. So let me just dive into what we're here for today. And I want to be real clear with you. In my life, there's a number of key things that happened where I learned things that served me the whole way. And one of those things was I came out of the world of education. I'd been in higher education. I'd been working on a doctorate in educational psychology. And a friend of mine had a big company and he asked me to come on board, and I was kind of ready for a change. So I became VP of sales and marketing for a large graphic arts and printing company. Now, I'd never been in selling before, ever. I'd been in education. I'd been a teacher. And a friend of mine said, well, because I was talking with him, I said, I'm not so sure I really know how to do this. And he said, well, you know, the Dale Carnegie Institute has a sales course. It has a course for salesmen. Why don't you take that? Well, I'm just like you are, who are on the call. I'm learning based. When I need to know something, I go and learn it. When I need a skill, I go and build it. So I went to the Dale Carnegie sales course, and I was blown away. See, I had this snooty attitude that if you couldn't do anything else, you became a salesman. Isn't that terrible? That's what academic elite think. And so I really realized, no, great selling and great servicing operate at the highest level of human capacity, of human communication, of human interaction. And by the way, when you're in a sales business like we are in real estate, commission-based independent contractor selling, where we don't get paid until we get the job done, or if we get the job done, we do a lot of work, put in a lot of hours on things we don't get paid for. It's amazing. We are entrepreneurial more than anybody else I know. Our industry is. So I honor you for that. Well, anyway, I learned this about selling, and then I learned that selling is a set of really important skills. And the fundamental skill is the being able to, the power of your words. How convincing are you? How much are you a person of influence? Well, the skills I learned in the Dale Carnegie Institute and that sales course allowed me to become a great salesman, a great sales leader. I became a great salesman in real estate. When I got there, I became a training director for 3 states. I became a regional director in upstate New York for 3 states. They transferred me to Dallas, Texas. I became divisional president of 7 states down there. And all of that way, I was using this power of influence that came from my learning how to do what we're going to talk about today. And that is learn how to influence others with the power of your words. And the core of it is why list with me, right? So let's get our, I need to just get the slide. Whoops, what happened here? Watch it, I'm working on technology here. All right, so this is really interesting. I haven't had this problem before. I wonder what's going on. I'm trying to advance the slide and it's not letting me advance the slide.
You're on the last slide.
Oh, thank you. Whoever that was that saved me. Is that the technology expert? I was on the last slide. That's really funny. Okay, so here we go. Now see if Dave can get this going. So here's what I want to do today. Thank you for that help. I love it. I appreciate it. What we have to all do in mastering modern technology, right? And it's usually the simplest thing, right? Like turn it on or you're on the last slide. So here's what I want to do today. I want to help you become a powerful listing agent because that's how you get control of the market and control of your career. We say it's leads, listings, and leverage, right? That's what we wrote in MREA. Listing is at the core of it. There's no question. So I want to teach you that. Second of all, I want to help you articulate your value proposition, why people should list with you, why they should work with you, what makes you better and stronger than any other real estate agent that they might talk to. And I want you, as an extension of that, to become a master of influence. In other words, great salespeople get other people to say yes and do things that are important to them, but also that the salesman or the marketer wants. And in this case, you become a person of influence. And I just got an award from this national company called Master Networks that I helped the founder get launched. And I built their university, Master Networks University, just like I did with Gary Keller, with Keller Williams University. And I helped them build their, I helped him write his super book called 5+1, The Entrepreneur's Formula for Success, which is going to power that company up to the level of Keller Williams. And it's not in real estate. This is all general entrepreneurship. But in that, they awarded me the Man of Influence, the Person of Influence Award. And I thought that was very interesting. And I realized that it became because of the skills I built through the Dale Carnegie course and the salesmanship and the things I want to talk to you. You will become more of a person of influence in your life, no question. And it all builds around mastering your listing presentation. The thing that we taught in Dale Carnegie was that you have to master your sales presentation. It's the core of everything you do, articulating your value proposition and understanding the benefits of working with you and your company and how you get the results you do, and having people be excited about working with you, in this case, bringing you on to handle the sale of their home. And so that's the core of it. That's the core of great selling, is the listing presentation. And let me give you a great story about that. One of my early mentors was Mike Ferry. Many of you may know him. He's a great trainer, prospecting genius, you know, and he's very direct. Like you call a homeowner, hi, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, when do you plan on moving? We don't. Okay, next. When do you plan on moving? How did you know we were moving? Yes, we need to move. See, I mean, it's that kind of thing. But it was very direct. Or they'd say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm applying for the job of getting your home sold. Very direct. So anyway, I was at a big training seminar that he was doing, and he got up in front and he said, okay, everyone, we get paid for 3 really good skills: prospecting, presenting, and closing. Which one of those 3 do you think is the most important? How many think it's prospecting? I mean, almost every hand in the place went up. And he went, nope, it's not. How many think it's closing, staying in there, hanging in there, you know, don't take no for an answer, answer all their questions, get them to sign the bottom line? Maybe half the hands went up. He went, no. He said it's presenting, because until you master your presentation, you won't prospect. You won't know what you're going to say. You won't know how to answer people's questions. You won't know how to articulate your value proposition. You won't have a level of confidence. You won't prospect. You won't lead generate. And he said, if you have, of course, if you have a bad presentation, a lot of people aren't going to list with you. So the core of being a great salesperson in real estate is mastering your listing presentation, because it gives you confidence for everything else. Now, underneath this is understanding the power of your words, scripts and dialogues. A lot of people misunderstand this idea of scripts. They think it's kind of false stuff. It's not them. They, you know, they're uncomfortable doing it, that kind of thing. And I'm just going to tell you, scripts are the poetry of selling. Scripts are the poetry of selling. It's learning how to say things in powerful ways. Linda McKissick said you need to learn to state the obvious in emotionally powerful ways. Gary Keller says people have sold real estate before us. They've had to encounter questions and assert themselves well before us. And he said they have built scripts and dialogues that we can use. They're powerful and they're written with power. So master them, use them. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, because I'm a deep believer in the power of your words and how to say things more effectively and more impactfully. Those are scripts. Those are scripts. And we'll get them, scripts and dialogues. And then what all of this does is, as you build your competence, you gain your confidence. See, confidence doesn't come from just positive self-talk, although there's nothing wrong with that. Confidence comes from competence. When you get competent at what you do and you can articulate it competently, you will gain self-confidence. And every competitive game is a confidence game. Every competitive athlete, you'll hear golfers say, yeah, I haven't got much confidence in my putting right now. Or, man, I'm hitting that ball crisply with confidence. And other guys will say, well, yeah, you know, I'm on a little bit of a hitting streak, because when I come to bat, man, I'm just filled with confidence. So the point is that confidence, and we are in a competitive sport. There's no question. Real estate sales is very competitive, maybe is more competitive than any other business. So many other people are trying to get the business. We have to go out and assert it and get it and convince people to work with us. Big confidence game. Confidence matters. And when you gain confidence, you get control of your career. And of course, when you take more listings, you get control of your career, because you own the marketplace, right? That's key. So that's why all of what we're going to talk about right now, the heart of it is making a great listing presentation. Now, there's 2 steps, really 3 steps prior to mastering your presentation. One is you got to be good at the business. People do business with your reputation. This is a very demanding business. Do not sell it short. You know, Patricia and I were talking about earlier, it's rocket science. Gary and Keller and I have always said at the highest level, real estate is rocket science. It's not easy, but it takes courage. Most people don't have that courage to ask for business, to assert themselves. Most people don't have the willingness to learn all of the things you have to learn in this complicated business. And it's gotten over the years more and more complicated. So let's take a quick look at that, because it's about your knowledge, skills, and attitudes. First of all, you have a massive knowledge area. You have to know contracts, financing, and property evaluation. That's the knowledge we get paid for. And then, by the way, if you're really good at it, you can say something like this: Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm a master of contracts. By the time we get to the end of our real estate transaction, there will be 75, 85 or more pages of legal documents that I will review on your behalf, make sure they're filled out right, make sure your interests are protected, and that you can be confident and secure in signing the documents you need to sign. I am a master of contracts. Now, what a powerful benefit that is. But you got to be able to say it because you really are a master of contracts. Same thing with financing, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. When we get our first offer, my work really begins, and I have to evaluate that offer. I have to decide on your behalf whether that buyer is qualified. Truthfully, for us to take our home in any way off the market and enter in and work at entering into a contract with them, and that's because I know financing. I know how people qualify. I know what it takes. I know the forms of financing. So I'm a master of finance for you. Number 3, property evaluation, and this is a big one. This is a big one. You need to know the market. You need to know what makes homes valuable. You need to know everything you can about pricing and the current trends. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I am a master of property evaluation. I'm not a licensed appraiser, but I'm better than they are at predicting what a home will sell for, what will make it sell for more. And my job is to get you the highest possible price. And I will. Why? Because I'm a master of the marketplace. I'm a master of property evaluation. See, now you have to go become a master of property evaluation. When I drove around Ahwatukee, Arizona with Mike Mendoza, who was our #1 agent in Keller Williams for 3 years in the early 2000s, and he would point to every house and say, that one sold 3 years ago, or this one sold last year, here's what it sold for. By the way, it was listed for this and it had to come down 20,000. And he like knew that marketplace in his head. And I knew he could do a great CMA virtually off the top of his head. Why? Because he knew the marketplace. Nothing better than knowing the marketplace. So that's part of the work right there. Contracts, finance, and knowledge. Second one is skills. You have to master great communication skills because people do business with people they like. You have to be really good at building great relationships and gaining trust early. And then we're going to work on this now. You have to be really good at presenting things in a way that people find compelling and make them want to do business with you. And then finally, when you need to negotiate win-win agreements, right? So those are the knowledge and skills. Now, the other is there's a set of attitudes, right? First of all, to be a person of intention, to know what you want, when you want it, or why you want it, when you're going to do it, how you're going to do it, and just be really clear about that. And so when that's true in your life, when you have goals that you're going after and you have action plans and you have your 135 and your 411 and you are so purposeful in what you do and so planful, you can say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, one of the reasons to list with me is I'm a person of intention. What I set out to do, I get done. When I say I'm going to do something, you can take it to the bank. I get things done. I cause good things to happen. When I say I'm going to get you the highest possible price, I promise you I am going to get you the highest possible price. No questions asked. Why? Because I'm a person of intention. So that's what you want to be able to say. So become a person of intention. Have written goals. Have plans. Be held accountable. Go for things, and then it'll show up in your work too. Second of all, assertiveness. See, I think almost all agents could become more assertive than they are. Not more aggressive, not more anger-driven, but assertive in that they ask for what they want, they stand up for what they want, they speak their truth, they speak their mind, they expect to be treated with respect, they get to ask whatever they need to ask, they don't have to apologize, they're assertive. And you could say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, one of the things you will like about working with me is I'm assertive. I'm not aggressive. I get along very well with people, but I tell you what, no one's going to take advantage of you. You know why? I'm going to stand up and make sure they don't. I'm not going to sit back and kind of let things and see where they go. No, no, no. I know what we want to achieve, and I'm going to assert myself to make sure that the right things happen for you. Why? Because I am an assertive person. Does that make sense to you? See, that's what you want to be. And by the way, I will tell you, speaking of building my career, this is what I had to do. See, I learned the selling thing and I learned the people skills, but what I didn't have was assertiveness. I was trying to be Mr. Nice Guy, have everyone like me. I cared about their opinion of me. You know, I was trying to please everybody and all that stuff. And all of a sudden I realized as a training director of Century 21 that if I wanted to be an executive, a regional director, or a vice president, or a CEO, that I was going to have to get more assertive. So I intentionally did. I took more risks. I stood up and spoke out. I asked for what I wanted. I got clear about that. I was less apologetic. And all of that, man, really benefited me. And there's a wonderful thing that I have called the Assertiveness Bill of Rights. It's a one-page document, and I put it up in front of my desk, and it gave me this power to act in a more assertive way. I recommend it to you. In fact, I'll tell you a little later how I can get you a copy of that. And then the final thing is, the attitude is one of commitment, that when you agree to things, you get it done. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm a person of commitment. Promises made, promises kept. When I say I'm going to do something, I do it. A lot of salespeople will tell you what you want to hear, and then they won't do it. That's not me. What I tell you I'm going to do, I do, and you can count on it. Why? Because I am a person of commitment. See, what 3 great things to portray. So build that knowledge, build those skills, build those attitudes. One of the things I just want to say to you is this is not an easy business. It takes a lot of practice and work, right? I was very enamored by a book called The Warrior Elite, and it was talks about by Dick Couch. And it talks about the training of Navy SEALs, and not only the 6-week period of intensive training and kind of, what am I calling it? Like trying to prove themselves so that they can become a Navy SEAL. And that 6 week is so arduous, more than half drop out, and the Hell Week at the end of it and all of that, so tough. But once they become Navy SEALs, they spend 18 months training for every 6 months in the battlefield. And the same thing with professional athletes. They spend hours and hours and hours of training to build the skills that they use in a much smaller time in the game. And yet some people come into real estate and think that you can just wing it and master it and do it just by doing it instead of practice and drill and get better at it like professionals do in every other realm. So commit yourself to the practice. Commit yourself. I say, real estate agents at the highest level do 3 things, and they do them 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. 1/3 of their time is serving the business that's there, clients. 1/3 of it is lead generation, and 1/3 of it is training and skill building. And because that's what it takes to do this game at the highest level. So keep that in mind. Okay, so number 1 is build your confidence. And then the next one is people do business with people they know and they like. So the next thing is, how good are you at human relations? And one of the things I learned out of the Dale Carnegie Institute was there's a set of things that if you hold yourself accountable, you will get along better with people. And it comes out of Dale Carnegie's famous book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, which, by the way, is in the top 200 of Amazon.com every year in terms of sales. And it was written 80 years ago. Why? Filled with timeless truth, just like MREA. Filled with timeless truth. The reason MREA is still the #1 best-selling book on Amazon.com in the real estate category is because it's full of timeless truth. So here's the key. Follow what Dale Carnegie says about how to win with people. And here's what he said. The big 3: don't criticize, condemn, or complain. He said, the minute you slide into criticizing, condemning, complaining, you go into a negative space. You don't become as smooth and quick at listening. And if people are there while you're doing it, they get a bad impression of you, even if you're complaining just like they are, even if you're agreeing with their complaints. In fact, you will get there. And of course, in relationships, this is so critical. My wife and I are very careful to not criticize, condemn, and complain in general, because it's a negative state of mind. And the other is we certainly don't do it with each other. So don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Number 2, give honest, sincere appreciation. Thank you may be the most powerful script, the most powerful phrase ever invented. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, right? And so we say that, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, thank you for giving me the opportunity to come here into your home and to earn the right to handle the sale of your home for you. I appreciate that opportunity, and thank you for giving me that time. One of the greatest salespeople that I ever knew, he was the #1 top producer in all of Century 21 in the early 80s when I got in the business. His name was Jim Droz, D-R-O-Z, out of Santa Clarita, California. And he was such a soft and gentle and mannerly guy. I mean, it was interesting. Here was his prospecting script. When he realized he needed to get to know people in this first neighborhood he was working of 600 homes, and he decided in 6 months that he was going to meet every one of those homeowners, and he actually met 590 some of them. And here was his script. Knock, knock, knock. You know, they'd open the door and he'd say, Hi, I'm really sorry to bother you here at home. I know this is your private and quiet time. My name's Jim Droz with Century 21. I just have one question to ask you. May I? Yeah, sure, Jim. What? It's my commitment to make this neighborhood the best possible neighborhood to live in. What one thing could I do or cause to be done that would make this a better place to live? That was his script. That was it. And many of them would invite him in for coffee and he'd get to know him, where others say, Jim, can't think of anything. Or someone would say, hey, cut that tree down that's covering the stop sign at the end of the street. Whatever it is, he would, and then he would mail them a mailing twice a month. And that's a whole different thing about lead generation. But my point is, he was so mannerly. And when he would come in to do a listing presentation, he'd say, oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate you opening your home and letting me come in to earn the right to list your home. And by the way, I want to give you a presentation. And he had a presentation flip chart, right? In the old days, no computers, flip chart. And he would slide a leather pad in under it. And he'd say, I just want to put this pad here so I don't mar your table. And then he would show them, right? And he would let them sit wherever they wanted to. He was so manly. He said, I learned to park my car on the street because somebody who listed with me said, you know, another agent came in here and they drove up our driveway in their sports car and they left an oil stain. He went, wow. You got to be really careful. So be very appreciative, very mannerly, give honest, sincere appreciation, okay, to everybody. Thank you. And then the final one, focus on what others want. Focus on what others want. Zig Ziglar said, you can have what you want in direct proportion to the number of people who you help get what they want, right? It's the platinum rule. And so follow that and do that. Dale Carnegie says, arousing the other person and eager want. Be really, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I am going to get a clear picture of what you want to accomplish and how I can help. That's my job. See, that's a great way to say it. Always do that. So don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Give honest, sincere appreciation and focus on what other people want. Now, here are the supportive 6. I'll do them really quickly. First of all, we'd be genuinely interested in other people. Let your curiosity come to the fore. Ask them questions. Get them talking about themselves. Be very curious about where they came from, what they do, what their jobs are, what's important to them. And then smile. Let your energy come through in this age of masks. It's kind of tough. We can't get our nonverbals out there, but smile. Have that energy. Let them feel that energy. People want to work with positive people. They just do. Energetic, positive people. Let that show through. Smiling is the easiest way to do it. And remember people's names. Now, by the way, do not say this. Dave, I'm not very good at remembering people's names. Don't say that. Why would you give that self-talk? Why would you label yourself as someone not good at remembering names? Why wouldn't you say, I'm really working on this skill of getting better at remembering names. I know it's important. I'm really working on it. You know, I used to not be as good as I am now. I'm getting better. So here's why. By the way, everyone struggles with remembering names. Here's why. From human relations point of view, it's 2 parts of the brain. Okay, the first part, the part of connecting with people emotionally, knowing them, getting a feeling for their history, who they are, their nature, all of those details that are so important in bonding with people, that's a right brain function. All the labels, names, where they went to school, where they were born, where they work, the kids' names, the pets' names, all those labels are over here on the left side of the brain, in the analytic side. So the job is you've got to connect the 2. You've got to get the labels with the essence of what you know. And so that's just a process. And here's what it is. Just remember this: repetition is the mother of mastery. Repetition is the mother of skill. Repetition is the mother of memory. So we have to repeat their name. So we have to get it down first. Every time you meet somebody, say, let me write that down. Right? Or if you're talking with them and you realize you didn't remember their name, then right away say, whoops, oops, I did a mind blank here and I forget your name. Can you remind me? Good. And then write it down and then have it there and clarify it, get it spelled right. And then how do they like to be addressed? If it's Elizabeth, do they like Elizabeth or Beth or Liz? What do they like? They like Dave or David. Just get it clear and then use it as much as you can. Dave, thanks for letting us be in your home tonight and try and earn the right to handle the sale of your home. Dave, we're going to do several things here. One of the first things I want to do, Dave, is ask you a series of questions so I can get a real clear idea of what you want to accomplish and then how I can best get that done. Does that make sense, Dave? Good. See, now it may feel to you like you're overusing it. Oh my God, that's ridiculous. You've used Dave in like 3 sentences. The thing is not to them. They love the word, they love the sound of their own name. So use it repetitively. So get good at remembering people's names. And then encourage others to talk about themselves, be probing. Gary Gentry says, I can learn more of somebody in 30 minutes than probably anyone else because I'm sincere, they trust me. I ask a lot of questions. I ask more probing questions. I really want them open-ended questions where they can really share with me who they are. Get them to talk about themselves. And then here's a key one. Talk about their interests, not yours. A lot of people think that if you have common interests, you create a bond. And generally, that's not true. Generally, it's that you care about them that creates the bond. And so, for example, I might say, so Dave, what kind of recreation do you like? Oh, I like golf. You like golf? Oh, I like golf. I love golf. I'm addicted to it. I'm a 9.2 handicap. What's yours? Yeah, yeah. Are you a member of a country club? I'm a member of Hackberry Creek over here. Yeah, yeah. What courses have you played that you really liked? I got to play Pebble Beach. See? And all of a sudden you think you're doing bonding, and what you're doing is pushing them away because you're doing competitive, like I know more than you do, mine's better than yours, all that stuff. So don't do the Me Too thing. If you have expertise, like say you love movies, just love them, watch them all the time, know all the great actors and all that, and they say they love movies. You go, you do? That's wonderful. Has this been true for a long time? Have you always loved movies? Great. By the way, what kind of movies do you like best? What recent ones would you recommend that we go see? Do you have favorite actresses and actresses? Yeah, great. Who are they? That's wonderful. See, that's it. Just use your wisdom to ask the questions, not do the Me Too. So talk about their interests, not yours. It's a time to get to know them. Don't do the Me Too's. And the final thing is make others feel important. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, thank you for letting me in your home. I want you to know I'm here to earn the right of handling the sale of your home. And I know it's your decision, and I honor that, and I'm going to make the best presentation, but I know it's your decision. Or you can say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we'll be working together and I will give you the latest information that I have, but in the end, I'm going to do what you want. You're the boss. So you give them that position. Now, if they have an important position in their work, or they do something teaching or whatever, then honor them for the position they have. Or if they're on a local board or head of a committee, just say, wow, that's so great that you're giving your time to do that. Make them feel important. So there's the supportive 6. Be genuinely interested in others, smile, remember people's names, encourage them to talk about themselves, talk about their interests, not yours. Don't do the Me Too thing, and make others feel important. So there we go. We got the competence part of really knowing the business, and now we've got the communication fundamental down. And now where do we go? Scripts and dialogues. Why? Scripts are the poetry of sales. Scripts are the poetry of communication. It's where we learn to state things powerfully in our own words. And as Linda McKissick said, she said, I was just kind of a country girl that told it like it was. And she said, just kind of told, the way it was and no nonsense. And she said, what I realized was I was boring. And if I was going to get people to want to work with me, I needed to state the obvious in emotionally powerful ways. I needed to work on my words. I needed to work on my scripts and dialogues. And so she said, I really began to master those. And I found myself becoming much more effective at communicating things to others. Now, Gary and I would tell you it's a 4-step process. Memorize, internalize, customize, and capitalize. First, you memorize it exactly as it is. As Gary says, people have lived before you and they have learned how to say things effectively. Take that script and master it as is. If you're a star actor or actress, what do? You take a screenplay written by what? A person really good with words, really good with language, really good with the rhythm of words. And then they write a script. And then what do great actors do? They just purely memorize it, right? Or I had a top agent 3 months ago say, Dave, I'm a cabaret singer. I've memorized 200 songs. I know the music, I know the words, I know the emotions, I know the feelings. I would never go in to a performance without rehearsing and being ready with that which I've memorized. So the key to being a great communicator is memorizing powerful scripts and language. We're going to talk about a bunch of those. But by the way, memorization is a muscle. It's a mental skill. And because of Google and our smartphones and GPSs and all that, and we've sort of learned not to remember things because we can always access it. So we really have to exercise that muscle, right? And one of the things to do is find little scripts and maybe scriptures or poems that you can memorize just for the art and the sake of memorizing. It's fun to do. Like when we were coming into COVID, I remembered the great poem by Rudyard Kipling called If you can keep your head while all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself while others doubt you, yet make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, not dealing lies, or being hated, not give way to hating, and yet not act too good or talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thought your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. And it goes on for a couple more verses, and then it finishes with this: if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, then yours is the world and anything that's in it. And more than that, life's battle you'll have won, right? It's a great poem, and I'll send you a copy of that too. So by the way, I just want to say, if you write me an email, dave@kw.com, very easy, Gary at KW, Mo at KW, dave@kw.com, and tell me 3 ahas that you got from this presentation. We're not even close to done yet, but 3 ahas that you got from this that were valuable to you, then I will send you this full presentation and everything in it, a document I have called Dave's Favorite Scripts, which are the wonderful scripts. I have a lot of them. I don't have time to cover today, so they're in there. I'll send you the Assertiveness Bill of Rights, and I'll send you a copy of the Rudyard Kipling poem, If, just for the fun of it, okay? So just write me, dave@kw.com. So mastering scripts is a big deal, and it's fun. You can make it fun. In fact, I would take 2 or 3 people and just practice scripts together. You may do that already in your market center, because so many Keller Williams market centers understand the power of this, and you can do that there. So that would be wonderful. Anything you can do to practice it and work on it, and particularly the ones that are really powerful scripts, they're really worth getting. Now we say customize, and that just means you'll use pieces of what you memorize. I'll give you a great one. Handle the sale of your home. See, that is a great script right there. Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, I'm here to earn the right to handle the sale of your home. If you hire me, I will handle the sale of your home. Here's what I do when I handle the sale of a home. See, it's not sell it, market it, list it. See, those are all mediocre phrases and words. It's handle the sale of your home. It's fiduciary, it's big, it's important. I will handle the sale of your home. So that's what we mean by customize. I'm going to give you 2 or 3 ways to lead into a listing presentation. You may use more than 1, 2 of those, or you may only use 1 of them. Doesn't matter. You'll customize it to the situation. And then, of course, you capitalize, meaning you win. Okay, you win. Now, let's dive into our listing presentation. There's a process. One is setting the stage, getting them focused on you and paying attention in a positive way. The second thing is making the presentation and asserting the key benefits of working with you and how and why they would list with you, and then dealing with the issues of pricing and staging, because those are always there. And then, of course, if there's any question about it, explaining the commission. So let's dive in. Here's one I learned from Mike Ferry called the 1-minute listing presentation. It goes like this. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I have written down 3 very important questions. May I ask them? Great. For 1, do you absolutely have to sell your home? Oh yeah, we do, Dave. We got to be gone in like six weeks or so. Great. Are you willing to price it to sell? Well, we'll have to price it at whatever you tell us to. We got to get it sold. Great. And would you like me to handle the sale for you? Yeah, Dave, you come so highly recommended. We've heard such great things about you. Yeah, we want to list with you. Great, let's get started. You've got 3 yeses, you're done. That's the presentation, you're done. You don't have to go telling them your track record and your certifications and how you work and all that stuff. Dive into it, start filling out the paperwork, start working on the pricing and giving them market information. Start laying out the plan for when you're going to put it on the market. And what kind of marketing you're going to do, right? Get into the job. They've already said yes. So you get 3 yeses, boom, you got a 1-minute listing presentation. Now, here's the other thing though. That's not why you're doing this. That is one reason. The big payoff is you get 3 yeses, you're gone. I mean, gone into the work. You know you're in. But here's not the reason. Can we give it? Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I've written down 3 very important questions. May I ask them? Great. 1, do you absolutely have to sell your home? Well, no, Dave, we don't have to. We love it here. We're just thinking maybe, we'll put it on the market, see what it would get if we did sell it. Okay, great, thanks. Are you willing to price it to sell? Well, we got to get at least $800,000 for it. We got to get at least $800,000. Okay, good. Would you like me to handle the sale for you? Well, we're interviewing you, but we're interviewing 2 other people too. Okay, great. Let's get started. See, now, by the way, look what I didn't do. I thanked them for their answers. I did not dive in and respond to their answers because now is not the time, but their answers gave me 3 pieces of information I want to know, right? Motivation, education, and willingness. One is, the first question is, are you motivated? Do you absolutely have to sell your home? If they really just want to put it on the market to see what it would get, I'm probably not going to take that listing. I'm probably not. Why? It should be a waste of my time. So I know in my mind that I'm going to have to check their motivation, because sometimes people will say things like, oh yeah, we don't really need to sell, when they really do want to sell. So I'm going to check it out. Second of all, I may think they say they have to get 800,000. I may think that 690 will be about as most we could get for their property. And all I know is I'm going to have to educate them about how the market really works and what pricing is going to work for them. So I know that, but I don't answer it here. And then would they like me to handle the sale for them? And if they're going to interview 2 other agents, I know I'm going to work right now to get them to be excited about and list with me. And then I'll say, oh, by the way, I'll call those other 2 agents. Just give me their name and number, and I'll call them and let them know they don't need to show up, because they can bring their qualified buyers if they want to your house, but we're going to get started on getting it sold. All right. So understand, there's an answer. You don't do it now, but these answers tell you where they are. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I've written down 3 very important questions. May I ask them? First, do you absolutely have to sell your home? 2, are you willing to price it to sell? And 3, would you like me to handle the sale for you? Notice how I shake my head up and down as I ask that last one, okay? So, by the way, this is a great way to set the stage and maybe shorten your listing presentation. Here's the second thing. People often aren't paying attention to you. They got their minds on homeschooling or a work issue or their shopping list or something that's going on, right? So we have to get them focused, and here's a way to do it. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, at the end of our meeting, one of 3 things is going to happen. Number 1, you will decide to have me handle the sale for you. Number 2 is you will decide not to list with me. Or number 3 is I will decide not to take your listing. I just want you to know any of those 3 is okay with me. Does that make sense? Well, wow. There's 2 things they've learned. 1, they better pay attention, because a decision is going to be made tonight. They can tell that in your voice. There's not going to be waiting around and maybes and all that. One of 3 things is going to happen, right? You've made that very clear. And you might not take their listing. That puts you in control, by the way. Now there's no sense of like dollar signs rolling in your eyes. You're there for the commission. No, you're there to handle the sale of their home in their benefit. So it's important to do something like this that really gets them listening to you right away, right, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? At the end of our meeting tonight, one of 3 things will happen. 1, you will decide to have me handle the sale for you. Number 2 is you'll decide not to list with me. And 3, I will decide not to take your listing, and any of those 3 is okay. Does that make sense? Well, Dave, why wouldn't you take our listing? Well, I'm in the business of not only meeting people's expectations, but exceeding them. And if I feel I can't exceed your expectations, then I'm going to be honest with you and just decide that, this isn't right for us to be working together. Is that okay? Well, okay, but we hope you'll take our listing. Good, let's talk about it. Or one of the things that Mike Ferry taught me was sometimes it's really good to fire a seller. You've got an active listing, they're complaining, they're saying negative things about you, they're not happy with things, and you go, tell you what, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I think that it's time for us to stay friends and just part ways. I'm going to let you out of the listing, and if you want me to recommend other people you can talk to, fine, but I think we just need to part ways, okay? They go, what do you mean, Dave? What do you mean? Well, I can tell that I'm not making you very happy. You're not very happy with what's going on, and I'm in the job of pleasing people and getting done what they want done. So I think it's probably better we part ways. No, Dave, I'm saying, I know we've been a little uptight, and I know we've been expressing anger, and we're sorry about that. We really like what you're doing. Please stay with us. That's what they may do. Or they may say, yep, that's a good idea. Let's part ways. Either way, that's good for you. It's nothing worse than working with a seller that really doesn't want you there or isn't very happy or you can't please, right? So just do that. Now, here's the second thing about setting the stage, time frame. And that is, often it's really good to give a tighter time frame. Great listing agents take listings in a half hour to 45 minutes. They don't take longer than that. You're not there to bond. You're not there to make new friends. That's not your job. You're there as a pro to get their home sold, right? And to be a professional. So you don't need to take a lot of time and, be all social and things like that. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't even help the process. So what you want to do is shorten the time. So here's another way you can add to it, right? Mr. and Mrs. Seller, at the end of our meeting, which should only take about 30 minutes, 45 minutes at the longest, one of three things will happen. See, right away, they know there's a time limit on this. Well, that could be a relief to them. It's not going to go on and on and on. And number two is, okay, now they're going to pay attention. So just remember that, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, at the end of our meeting, which should take 30 minutes, 45 minutes at the most, one of three things will happen. You will decide to have me handle the sale for you, or you'll decide not to list with me, or I'll decide not to take your listing. Now, any of those things is okay with me. Does that make sense? Okay, there you go. Great script. Now, here's another way to set the stage. Floyd Wickman says, people want to know what's going to happen. When people know what's going to happen, they relax. If they're not sure what's going to happen, they're uptight, they're defensive, they're kind of thinking, how long is this going to take? What's he going to do? What's happening next? So this is called a safe island. We're giving them a safe island so they know what's coming ahead. And the other thing in this is a neat memory technique called stacking. And that's where when you have a presentation to make or you are teaching a class, if you can create the big chunks of that in the form of an object that you can visualize and stack those on top of one another, it can allow you to memorize things. Like if I'm in front of a class learning scripts and dialogues, which I've done many, many times, and there'll be 20, 30 people and me, and there's no desks, no chairs, no pens, no tablets, no technology of any kind. I don't have it either. I'm there, hands-free, no PowerPoint, no anything. And for 3 hours, with a break or two, we master scripts. I demonstrate it, we repeat it together, then they role play it, then we repeat it together, then we move on to the next script, and then we work our way back and forth so that at the end of it, we've got 16 or 17 scripts absolutely mastered in our minds. Now, when I do that, I know where I'm going with all those scripts. I have them stacked in a stack, and I know what the next one is we're going to cover. So here's how it goes. Let me show you how a stack works. So we're going to create this stack called the Safe Island. At the bottom of the stack is the letter B followed by the number 4, B4, bright pink B4. On top of the B4 is a stopwatch with 1 minute on it, just 1 minute. We think minute, 1 minute on this stopwatch. Then out of the top of the stopwatch are 4 steps, numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. On the top step are a bunch of question marks all bunched together. On top of the question marks is a shopping cart, or what we call a market basket. And we think market basket full of numbers, market basket. On top of the market basket is a jail cell, a window with bars on it, prisoner in it, jail cell, and we think jail cell. And out of the top of the jail cell is a spiral staircase of steps. And we think spiral staircase of steps. We think steps, right? So what's on the bottom? Before, then what? 1 minute, and then 4 steps, and then question marks, and then market basket, then jail cell, and then steps. Okay, here's how it goes. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, before we begin, may I take a minute to tell you how I work? Basically, I use a 4-step process. First, I'm going to ask you a series of questions so I can get a clear picture of what you want to accomplish and how I can help. Then I will give you enough market information for you to place a rational price on the property. And then I'm going to honestly sell you on the benefits of working with me and my company and how we get the results we do. And when you hire me to handle the sale of your home, I will tell you step by step all the things I will do to cause your home to sell. Does that sound good? Great. Let's get started. So, by the way, you see, I just went up that stack and it was easy and it told people where I was going. It made me look organized. Now, you may have 5 steps or 6 steps. It doesn't matter. The point is you're letting them know what it is, and they can get the feeling of what's coming up. That's called setting the stage. Now, here's the heart of selling. This is what I learned in the Dale Carnegie course. It's facts, benefits, and feelings. That's it. Every time you tell people what you do or why they should work with you, it's facts, benefits, and feelings. Here's what I do. Here's what you get. Here's how you will feel, right? Facts, benefits, feelings. Facts, benefits, feelings. Just get that clearly in your mind. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, as I said to you, by the time we get to the end of this transaction, there could be 75 or 85 pages of legal documents. I will review them all on your behalf. That's what I do. And therefore, you will know that nothing is going on in there that doesn't serve you, and you will feel confident and secure about signing those documents. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you can ask me a question anytime you want, but I will, once a week, fully report to you on the progress of your sale, right? That's what I do. And therefore, you will know exactly what's going on. You can ask any questions that come up, and you will have this sense of being respected and listened to and paid attention to, and know that things are on track. That makes sense? Mr. and Mrs. Seller, by the way, I'm going to give you all of the appropriate market information that is relevant to the pricing of your home, which means you will be able to make an accurate decision on the price to list it for, and the satisfaction of knowing that you're getting the highest possible price for your home. Does that sound good? See, all those things are things I'm doing. And then so you say, here's what I'm going to do, and this is the benefit you'll get, and here's how you'll feel. A lot of people need to be focused on the feeling, right? This will give you peace of mind and relaxation. You'll feel respected and listened to. You'll have more confidence and security. You'll have this feeling of satisfaction and well-being, and actually you'll be happy and joyful about moving on to your next home, right? So this is the heart of selling. Facts, benefits, feelings, master it. Now, pay real close attention. Here is the master listing presentation right now. Right now, here's the one that I would give. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there's really 3 reasons to hire me to handle the sale of your home. 1, you can trust me. 2, I will answer all your questions. And 3, I will protect you all the way to closing. Does that sound right? Are we ready to work together? Good, let's get going. See, that's the heart. You don't need to do all your credentials, all your testimonials, all the, how many homes you've sold, all that stuff. No, no, no. The 3 things they care about is, can they trust you? Will you treat them with respect and give them all the answers they need along the way? And 3, will you protect them? Take care of their interests all the way? And the answer is, yes, you will, right? So just master this. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there's really 3 fundamental reasons to list with me. You can trust me, I will answer all your questions, and I will protect you all the way through closing. Does that make sense? See, it's powerful. Now you can expand it, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. There's 3 reasons to hire me. 1 is, I'm trustworthy. Other people have trusted me. You can trust me. What I say I do, promises made, promises kept, you can trust me. 2 is, I will answer all your questions. You can call me anytime. I will always give you the answers. And by the way, I'm a professional. So if I know the answer, I'll tell you. If I don't know the answer, I got this amazing company behind me. I will go get the right answer and tell you. And finally, I will protect you and your interests, and I will let no one take advantage of you all the way from the time we list until we get an offer and accept it, all the way to closing. I will protect you all the way. Does that make sense? So you can expand it a little if you need more words, but this is the heart of it, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. There's 3 reasons to list with me. You can trust me. I will answer all your questions, and I will protect you all the way to closing. It's powerful. It's powerful. Keep it simple. Now, other people may want more complexity. So you can say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there's really 10 things that I do to serve you and get your home sold successfully. Would you like me to go in detail on those? How much detail would you like? Oh, no, Dave, that's fine. That's fine. No, we know you'll inform us along the way. No, we know that. So fine, let's just get started. Okay, now, by the way, these come from the magical pages of MREA. Page 95 has a listing presentation on it, 1 page. A listing presentation. You could make a photocopy of that, take it to a listing appointment, read those 10 things that you do for sellers, and that would probably be better than 95% of all listing presentations they've ever gotten or would ever get, right? It's right there. And oh, by the way, at the bottom of the page are the 10 things you do for buyers. So a buyer rep presentation is right there. Also, they're not the same, they're parallel, but they're not identical. And the way you talk about them is different. So that's all there. Just want you to know it's there. And then on page 151 are the 14 ways to market a home. And the 14 ways, you may have 16 ways, you may have 12 ways, but the point is you have this list of ways that you market a home and cause it to sell. So here's the way you would go. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there's really 10 things that I do that will serve you and get your home sold successfully. How much detail would you like me to go into? Well, Dave, yeah, we'd really like to know. Yeah, tell us what those 10 things are. Great. Here's how it is. First, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. I'm going to get a thorough needs analysis so I know your priorities and that I can help you achieve them. Number two is I'm going to give you enough market information so we make an effective pricing strategy to get the highest possible price we can for your home. Number three is I'm going to advise you about certain repairs and conditions we might want to do that are going to be question marks to people coming and looking at the home. We do them ahead of time. It might be smart. And then also we'll stage your property so it competes really effectively with the other homes that are on the market right now. And number four is I will review with you the 14 ways in which I cause a home to sell and market, and we'll decide which ones are appropriate to your home, and we'll have a really clear marketing strategy. And five, my work really begins when we get our first offer. I will evaluate that offer, see if we're willing to accept it and take your home off the market for it. I'll check it whether that person can actually fulfill that. I will protect you in evaluating that offer. Now, if we need to, number six, I'll negotiate and we'll work on the terms and conditions so that the final contract has all of the details that you want and are okay with you and will serve you. And then after then, there may be work that needs to be done for repairs or certain conditioning things. And I have people that do that and I can oversee them and I'll tell you what the pricing is and we'll agree on that. I can coordinate all that for you. And then, as I said, there's 75 or 85 pages of legal documents. I'm going to review them all before we even get toward closing. You will know that they have been reviewed, that they're thorough, they're right. Anything you need to sign, you can sign, and any questions you have about it, I will answer those. And then we'll go to closing and I'm there with you. Any last minute things that you need advice on or we have to resolve, I'm there to take care of it. And finally, after my job doesn't end there because I want to be your realtor for life. So afterwards, I can help you with your moving company, or by the way, do you have an agent where you're moving to, where you're buying yet? Because if you don't, I can get you a great agent there. And then I can coordinate really well with the purchase of your home and me handling here the sale of this one. Would you like me to do that? Okay, great, I can do it. And finally, the sale of your home is a tax event, so we'll give you all of the documents you need to take to your CPA or your tax prep person in order to do your next filing. Does that make sense? Any questions on those? See, there you go. That list is right there. It's right there for you to use and master and work at presenting. Now, let's talk about a few really specialized scripts. The one is we really want them to know that we take their interests. We believe, Gary Keller and the whole company believes that every transaction needs a fiduciary agent who is taking care of the client and acting in their interest amongst all the complexity, right? We believe in fiduciary. Now, the thing is we can't use the word fiduciary because no one knows exactly what that means, or it can be confusing. So here's a great script for telling it. And it goes like this: Mr. and Mrs. Seller. This is funny. I had this for another presentation. I will change that. I am licensed by the state of Georgia to represent you in the sale of your home. And I will always place your interest above the interest of any other party, including my own. I was just thinking about that. What I have there is, I am licensed by the state of, and then there was a blank. That's my classic one that I do, because 90% of what I do is US based, right? But yesterday I did this listing seminar for a Keller Williams office in the province of British Columbia. And so I changed it and put it in there. So when I send this to you, I will have that say state of Georgia. I am licensed by the state of Georgia to represent you in the sale of your home, and I will always place your interest above the interests of any other party, including my own. My commitment is to get you the highest price in the shortest time, the minimum inconvenience to you. But see, you're appealing to this. By the way, Mr. Messiah, I want to remind you, I am licensed by the state of Georgia, big authority, to represent you. See, not to represent buyers and sellers and generically. No, to represent you in the sale of your home. And what does that mean? I will always place your interest above the interest of any other party, including my own. And then you repeat the triple. And I am committed to get you the highest price in the shortest time with a minimum of inconvenience to you. Fiduciary is a big deal. No other agents wouldn't even know how to talk about this. Now, here's the other thing. Linda McKissick said, you have to learn to state the obvious with emotional power. And she said, here's one of the ones I do. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, when you hire me to handle the sale of your home, I will immediately, tomorrow morning, notify all the other realtors in the area that your home is on the market, its best features, and why they should bring their qualified buyers to see it. Would you like me to do that? Oh yeah, Linda, please, that would be great. I'll do that. See, now a mediocre agent says, yeah, we'll put it in the MLS, and then we'll put a sign in the yard. And it's kind of like this dumbed down language. See, remember what Linda said, you have to learn to state the obvious. Everyone knows we use the MLS, except we don't say to the seller what that means for them. Here's what it means for them. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, when you hire me to handle the sale of your home, I will immediately tomorrow morning notify all the other realtors in the area that one, it's on the market, two, its best features, and why they should bring their qualified buyers to see it. Would you like me to do that? Yeah, Dave, please do that. Power. Now here's another one. Althea Osborne, great agent. She said, Dave, I work with all these high tech people in Austin. They've gotten now into $1 million homes and they always want to know where I'm going to advertise it. And here's what I tell them, right? So they'll say, so Althea, where are you going to advertise this? And she'll say, Jim, let me educate you about how real estate really works. Ads don't sell homes, realtors do. And I'm already investing half of my commission as an incentive for the best agents to bring their qualified buyers to your home. And as your agent, I will never waste your money. And I certainly wouldn't waste my own. Listen to the power of that. First of all, she takes charge. She's assertive. Let me educate you. She doesn't assume the sellers know more about it than she does. She's the expert. You're not talking down to them. You're just standing up for who you are. Let me educate you about how real estate really works. Ads don't sell homes, realtors do. And now, by the way, oh, but Dave, we all co-broke. We know we co-broke. Yes, but we don't have to co-broke. I remember when I started in the real estate industry, upstate New York, most of the brokers didn't co-broke. They had the listing. You had to work through them. No co-brokes. Now, the industry got smart and made co-broking a standard across the industry, which has benefited buyers, sellers, and the industry. But by the way, it's still your commission. And they need to understand that's what we're doing to advertise their home. We're getting other realtors to pay attention. That's what causes a home to sell, not ads. We can run ads, but we do that to draw more clients. You know that. So anyway, here's the way we say it, though. That's too technical a conversation. We say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, let me educate you about how real estate really works. Ads don't sell homes. Realtors do. And I'm already investing half of my commission as an incentive for the best agents to bring their qualified buyers to your home. And here's the kicker. And as your agent, I will never waste your money, and I certainly wouldn't waste my own. See, whether they think that money, that commission, is their money or your money, you're not going to waste it. Powerful script, powerful script. Now, here's one really worth mastering, which is Keller Williams. See, in the early days, people would say, well, I've never heard of this company of yours, this Keller, whatever. You'd go, oh yeah, Keller Williams. Let me tell you about Keller Williams. Keller Williams is the newest, most innovative, fastest growing national real estate company in America. And by the way, right here in Georgia. And they go, oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's why it's so exciting to be with them. See, but now, of course, we're now the leaders of the pack, 40% larger than any other real estate company. And so we say a different one. Yeah, let me tell you about Keller Williams. Keller Williams is the largest, most innovative, and highly respected real estate company in the world. And I'm with Keller Williams because at Keller Williams, I'm a partner in the business. I get to share in the profits. I have a say in all the decisions. And more important than that, I am empowered to do whatever it takes to best serve you. Powerful. Now, by the way, that's true about Keller Williams. Keller agents are considered partners, stakeholders in Keller Williams. You can, through profit sharing, share in the profits. You can, through the ALC, have a say in all decisions that are made within the company. And of course, within the law and ethics, you're free to take care of your client in any way you determine that you want to. It's powerful, but we need to state it in a way to them. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, let me tell you about Keller Williams. Keller Williams is the largest, most innovative, and highly respected real estate company in the world. And I'm with Keller Williams because at Keller Williams, I am really a partner in the business. I get to share in the profits. I have a say in all the decisions. And more important than that, I am empowered to do whatever it takes to best serve you. See, powerful, powerful, powerful. Now, pricing. Important to get your scripts down on pricing. It's, by the way, it's chapter 7 of the book Shift, How to Price It Right. It's all there, all the scripts and dialogues. Shift is full of scripts and dialogues all the way through. So they say, you know what? I mean, this pricing you've been saying is like around 700,000, but we got to get 800,000 for it. You go, I understand. I understand that you want to maximize the price that you can get. And that's my commitment to you. I'm with you. My job is to get you the highest possible price. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a very intelligent strategy. First of all, we need to understand the market is going to determine what our home sells for. We're competing against other homes. People have choices. The buyer's going to decide what they're going to be willing to pay for your home. And here's the thing. There's two kinds of markets out there. There are homes that are on the market, but they don't look very good and they're overpriced. And they're getting occasional showings and no offers. Then there's those homes that are in the market. They're priced right and they look good. And they're not only getting offers, they're getting multiple offers. So my job as your agent is not just to list your home and put it on the market. My job is to make sure that we are in the market. Does that make sense? And that gives us the chance to take advantage of a window of opportunity. See, there's a window of opportunity. When any new listing comes on the market, it has about a 10-day to 2-week window to get the highest possible price. It just is because the whole market turns its attention. All the agents turn their attention. All their buyers turn their attention to your property when it comes on. And if we make a bad first impression, if we're overpriced or we don't look very good or there's repairs needed, we're going to lose that. And then you can drop prices and make improvements, but it's hard to get that attention back. So we want to come into that window of opportunity absolutely suited to be priced right and to be really attractive, because that'll get us our best offer. And one of the things we really don't want to do is chase the market, right? If the market's going up, I price ahead of it. If the market's coming down, I price ahead of it. I want to make sure that we are in the market. And all the research says, if you price it right and stage it right at the beginning, you will get the highest possible price. And that's my goal for you, to get the highest possible price for your home. Does that make sense? So you really need to go through without getting an argument with them. You need to keep re-emphasizing what will determine the price of the home. And these are the areas that do. And finally, there's this discussion. And that is, so Dave, would you do it for less? Would you cut your commission? And I go, boy, I understand that you really want as good a deal as you can get. I honor that. I'm a shopper myself. I always look for value. I always look for deals. Promise you I do that. But here's the thing. Many people don't understand what really happens to the commission. So let me take a minute to tell you about that. Half of the commission, 3%, goes to the company or agent that brings us a qualified buyer. So in a sense, that's not a commission, it's a marketing fee, right? That is making sure we get a good buyer for your home. Now, of the remaining 3%, 1% of it goes to this great company, Keller Williams, the world's largest, most powerful real estate company that I'm with, and all the advantage that brings and all the great agents I have that are going to help me get your home sold. Then another 1% or a third of it goes to my business expenses, my staffing, my technology, my marketing, all of that thing. And so all that leaves out of that commission is 1% that goes to me and my family. And I know you believe it would be very wrong for me to cut that. Is that right? That makes sense? Great. Let's move. And so then you move on. Just move on. That's it. The answer to cutting your commission is no. Why? Because of this. You'd be hurting yourself and your family. See, they think that the whole 6% is going to you. It's not even close. Small percentage comes to you. You're the one doing the work. So stand up for that. Now, here's the final thing I want to do. It's the most powerful sales presentation you will ever make, and it's to yourself. It's the power of self-talk. How do you talk to yourself in this tough business we're in? Well, here's how I talk to myself. Here's how I recommend you talk to yourself. I am in a skill-based sales profession. It's not easy. It's highly competitive. We don't get paid till we get the job done. And those of us that are the most competent are the best and get paid the most. And I am mastering all the skills. I'm gaining the knowledge. I'm getting better and better. My competence is going up in real estate. And because I practice hard, I practice long, and I practice often, I really am working at mastering this profession. And as I do, it increases my confidence. My competence goes up, and so does my confidence. And when my confidence goes up and I can make this effective sales presentation, then others can feel my positive energy and they want to list with me. And then those listings sell, and those leads to other neighbors being referred to me to sell their property. And I'm taking lots of listings, and I've got the momentum of my career going, right? And therefore, I'm doing what Gary Keller says. I'm thinking big, I'm aiming high, and I'm acting bold. And if you want a copy of this and the scripts and the dialogues and the poem and the Assertiveness Bill of Rights, dave@kw.com. Just give me your three ahas, any three ahas that you got from this presentation. And there we go. Patricia, all done.
That was excellent.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone have anything they want? I know I've got text messages from quite a few of them saying how much they enjoyed it.
Well, good. Yeah, if they have any questions about any aspect of it, please, now's the time to ask. We've got some time. Either chat them in to Patricia or unmute yourself and ask them. Either one. Or make a comment if you want. If you have an aha from this that you want to share. Ahas are a great learning tool. Gary Keller and I always believe it's okay to ask questions. We believe in asking questions, but the difference is when you ask a question, you think there's something you need to know that you don't, right? But when you have an aha, it means, oh yeah, I got that. Now I can go implement it. So ahas that's why I'm asking you to send me your ahas, because it will lock in those things that you got out of this that you now can go implement right away. So ahas are important, but please ask any questions, because something I said might not have been clear, or you weren't sure about it, or you have a what if, Dave, what if this happens? Feel free to ask that.
Mr. Jenks, this is Kevin Hall.
Yeah, Kevin, how are you doing, sir?
I'm blessed, my friend, and yourself?
I'm blessed too. I'm blessed to be here. Thank you.
Hey, man, I just wanted to say thank you. That was so practical, so good. I filled my pages of notes. And now to go back and digest this, I just want to say thank you. When you started off with Dale Carnegie, I'm like, this is going to be fantastic. And that's one of the best books ever. So thank you for your time and sharing your knowledge. It was absolutely fantastic.
Thank you, Kevin. No, you're a learning-based guy, and I respect that deeply. You know, and what you said is going back in the repetition. One of the things people don't fully understand is that repetition is the mother of mastery. And so there's a lot of things we try and be one-trial learners, but really the real learning comes from when we do the repetition and we master it, right? That's the difference between just kind of, oh, I know that, and I can do that. Big difference. But thank you, Kevin.
Anyone else?
Anybody else? Feel free to comment or ask a question or any of that. This is a test in your assertiveness.
Mr. Jenks, this is Reggie Smallwood. I'm sorry, am I talking over somebody?
No. Okay, well, there we got you. You're up now. Reggie, we can see you.
Okay. I just want to say I'm a month in the business. I'm a new agent, and this has been awesome. I mean, of course, my mind right now is going.
Of course, yeah. That's right. You're taking the drink out of the fire hose, right? But
yeah, so much information, and it all makes sense to me. So I'm like Kevin. I appreciate you so much.
Well, Reggie, you're welcome. And by the way, one of the things to do is to keep it simple. Like Gary and I said, people tend to make things too complex. And the key is to keep things simple. But the difference is you have to have people like me and Gary and Patricia who've gone through the complexity, and then we can express the simplicity in a realistic way, right? Like that three-part listing presentation, right? You can trust me, I'll answer all your questions, and I will protect you all the way to closing. See, that sounds simple. I got to tell you how much thought and wisdom went into building that script right there. As simple as it is, it comes from an incredible depth of knowledge about what sellers really want and what really matters. and how to say it. So yeah, good. But I want to make this so that you, as a brand new agent rep, you can say, you know what, I can master this and I can go out and do it. And that's the same thing with, you don't need to have all the answers. You can say, I will answer all your questions. By the way, I'm a professional. I'm with a great company. If I have the answer, I'll give it to you straight. If I don't know the answer, I'm going to go to this great company and all the people behind me, and I'm going to get you the right answer. See, what a great thing to say. Then it takes the pressure. You don't have to know it all, because you're tied into a company that does know it all. Yeah, that's good, Reggie. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else?
I just wanted to say thank you. And I'm sure, like many others, I need to go back through pages of furiously written notes, and then I can put together some questions, and I'll definitely send you my 3 ahas.
Thank you, Sue. And I'll send you all those slides and everything so you can review those. And Patricia has recorded this. So if you want to come back in, or any way she gives you the link, and you want to have those notes in front of you while you listen again, that would be another one of those kind of advantages of repetition. So that's available.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You bet, Sue. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Good?
Just wanted to say thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. It was a great presentation. Lots of good information to take in.
Thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate that. Go make it work, buddy. Okay, go put it to work. Yeah.
This is April. I just wanted to say one of the ahas for me was that when you were saying one of 3 things will happen, and it makes them feel like, you know, oh wow, he might not take our listing. So like you're back in the seat of, you know, they're wanting something you have, in other words. And I really like that. I've gone through some Dale Carnegie stuff and Stephen Covey's stuff, but it reminded me, yes, it's how you present information on how they're
yeah. You know, you're not, that's really good, April. And you're not doing it in a way to be cocky or I don't
right.
or any of that. What you're doing is just saying simply, look, I'm only here because if you want me to handle the sale for you. But
right.
if you don't, or I think I can't please you, then it's okay with me to walk away without the listing. And that's okay. And it just takes that pressure off.
You're laying out the outline and easing some of their anxieties, because now they know one of 3 things will happen, not something unknown. There you go. That's the same thing with the Safe Island. Here's what's going to happen. I have a 4-step process. Here are the steps I'm going through. It gives them that feeling of you're organized, number 1 is, and number 2 is this isn't going to take forever. And 3 is they know where it's going. And that's why we call it the Safe Island. Gives them that feeling of security, and they're going to be a lot more relaxed with you when you when you set it up that way. Thank you. Very good.
You bet.
Hi, Dave. This is Sam Flores. Just the presentation is just awesome. It's more like a Bible as how you should proceed in this industry. The key milestones everyone needs to strive for, but I completely, the point you brought up as far as just don't really budge on your commission much is kind of like the saying, you know, you pay what you get for, and you should be confident in what you charge and assertive to your clients and yourself. You know? Yeah,
because, and that's what the thing about that little script is, it's not justifying it, it's just giving them perspective. You know, out of all this commission that looks like a lot of money to you, there's only 1% that's going to come to me and my family, and you know, certainly you wouldn't expect me to cut that, right? And that's where you just make them have an understanding. You're not debating them. You're not saying that, you know. And the other thing is, because you can articulate your value proposition, you know what you could do. And one of the top agents of Keller Williams that I worked with in San Antonio, she would say this to Mr. and Mrs. Seller, by the way, right at the front, I just want you to know I charge 1% more than the average agent here in San Antonio. The average agent here charges 6. I charge 7, and here's why. I know I get the job done, and I will get you for sure that amount of money more for your home than somebody else will. But I just want you to know up front, I charge more. See? And they would go, oh, okay, no, I got that, we got that. You know, so when you are confident and assertive about about why you charge what you do. And by the way, that little analysis we did is not a bad one for you to understand yourself. For us as an industry to provide a great way for people to maximize the money they can get for their home, this is how the money gets distributed. You know, because we have an MLS and because we have co-broking and because we get everyone energized to sell their home, we increase the price and the confidence they can have in the price and the process.
I had a quick question, sir, on the stack.
Yes.
Said before we get into it, can I have a minute? And then it got into the 4 steps. I couldn't get everything down there. Could you briefly touch on that?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be good for you. I'll do it. I'll just repeat it real quickly. But then you'll find there is a little script included in a couple of places. For example, before we begin, Mr. Maselli, before we begin, may I take a minute to tell you how I work? Basically, I use a 4-step process. First, I'm going to, and then here's a neat little script. I'm going to ask a series of questions so I can get a clear picture of what you want to accomplish and how I can help. Okay. You hear that? That's a script in and of itself right there, right? I'm going to ask a series of questions so I can get a clear picture of what you want to accomplish and how I can help. And then the next one is I'm going to give you enough market information for you to make, and this is a very clear script, a rational decision about the price to place on your property. So you've already set up that the price we place on the property is a rational decision, not an emotional one. And it's going to be based on this market information I give you. So that's the poetry of scripts. They sound kind of like, you know, sort of matter of fact. I'm going to give you enough market information for you to make a rational decision about the price to place on the property. You say, oh well. But you have set in their mind what that is. And then you say, and then honestly, I'm going to sell you, you know, honestly, I'm going to sell you on the benefits of working with me and my company and how we get the results we do. So that's an assumptive. You hear that assumptive expression? Because you're saying we get results. Me and my company, we get results. And, you know, I'm going to frankly sell you on how we do that. And then the final one is, so we make it contingent almost on they need to make their decision first. But that's a very subtle part of this. When you hire me to handle the sale of your home, I will tell you step by step all the things I will do to cause your home to sell. How's that sound? Great, let's get started. You see how that works, Kevin? Each of those little chunks, and thank you for asking me to kind of clarify that. Each of those little chunks, what you do in each of those steps is its own little script.
Yes, sir.
So now, by the way, it's all, no, it's not, I'm sorry. On the slide, I don't have that little script on the slide. I don't have it. So you'll have to, either you just took it down now or, you know, listen to it. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You bet. In fact, it may be in my favorite scripts, I may have it in there. It may be the wording there may be there. Okay. It may be. So make sure that you send me your 3 ahas and I'll get you my favorite scripts.
There we go.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, I guess, Patricia, there were a few things we could talk about. Well, we could. So the fun thing about, I mean, here's the fun thing about doing Zoominars is I've done 110 of these since March. 110, not all on listing, but on others, right? And yesterday I did one in Boston and then one in Vancouver, Washington, and now we're back to Georgia. So it allows me to kind of be all over the place, but I really do like doing the face-to-face because then we can have these kind of discussions that are more interactive and over more time, and that's a good thing. Yeah.
Thank you. Just look at all the more lives you're able to touch doing it this way, though.
Well, I feel that way, and that's why I'm really glad I'm reconnected back into Keller Williams with Gary and doing all of this. It's been wonderful. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Right. Thank you for having me with your crew, and I love your part of the world. What a gorgeous place.
Well, you need to stop in and see us anytime.
My wife, Gina, and I will be doing a drive up through. We'll be coming up. We probably will try and find some way to avoid Atlanta, but we'll at least be on our way to Asheville or something and come on up through your part of the woods.
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay, thank you again. All right, bye everyone. Thanks for attending.
All right, take care everybody. Bye-bye.